And just like that, Garnacho to Chelsea is real.
Alejandro Garnacho is going to become a Chelsea player. He's leaving Manchester United. A deal has been agreed. It's going to cost Chelsea a £40 million fixed fee.
United push him out the door.
I think he needs to go to a new club, a new situation, a new environment for him. I think it's best for both parties, himself and for Manchester United.
They say he has no future at Old Trafford.
From United's perspective, they're very, very happy because £40 million fixed fee is a very good deal for them for a player who really has no future at the club.
But sometimes the end of one story is the start of something bigger.
So I think it would be best for everybody for him to go somewhere else.
Listen, let's be real for a second. The reaction to Chelsea signing Alejandro Garnacho has been chaos. Half the football world laughs at it, calling him selfish, immature, and destined to flop. The other half whispers that it's a steal, that Manchester United just handed Chelsea a gift.
The play, still applause for Coyote as he comes across. Brilliant finish from Garnacho.
And when you see such polarization, it usually means people are missing the bigger picture. That's why I'll say it straight. Everyone is wrong about this signing. Dead wrong. And if you look properly at the context, the numbers, and the fit, it's clear Chelsea might have pulled off one of the smartest moves of the window. Start with the deal itself. £40 million, a contract until 2032. 21 years old, almost 150 professional appearances already. That's not a punt on raw potential. That's a young player who's been through the grind of top-level football and lived to tell the tale. And the fee? People love to throw the word gamble around, but let's zoom out. Nottingham Forest paid more for Omari Hutchinson. Newcastle spent over $80 million on Waltemade after one decent Bundesliga season. Mudryk went for almost 90 with far less proof. Suddenly Garnacho for 40 looks like value. In this market, it's not a risk. It's smart business. Chelsea aren't throwing dice. They're buying a player already valued in that range, with the potential to be worth much more. But to understand why Garnacho divides opinion so much, you have to rewind to his roots at Manchester United. Post-Ferguson United is not a club, it's a soap opera. Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Ten Hag, Amorim. 5 managers in a decade, each tearing down what came before, each leaving the squad in disarray. £1.43 billion spent, no Premier League title to show for it. That instability shaped Garnacho. Every year, new systems, new philosophies, new criticisms. Imagine being 19, thrown into that storm, told to deliver while the whole house burns. And yet, through that chaos, Garnacho kept producing.
And Garnacho! That is of the very highest order.
Others with bigger reputations collapsed. Pogba, Sancho, even Rashford had dipped so deep fans turned on him. Garnacho survived. That resilience, that ability to adapt in dysfunction is worth something. Chelsea saw it, and I see it too. The character talk? Honestly, I don't buy the negativity. Amorim blasted him in public, exiled him, and people took it as gospel. He's toxic, he's trouble. But let's be honest, United has made scapegoating an art form. Pogba was dragged through the mud. Sancho's reputation destroyed. Rashford, once adored, suddenly painted as lazy. Garnacho became the next in line. Yes, he's fiery. Yes, he's emotional. He's 21. That's not a crime, it's part of development. Chelsea did their due diligence, spoke to people, and found nothing worrying. They saw the difference between a broken player and a player stuck in a broken environment. And to me, that's the key. In the right structure, those so-called character flaws turn into competitiveness, into edge. Hold on a second, before we dive deeper, I gotta ask you this. What do you think about Chelsea bringing in Garnacho? Smart move or disaster waiting to happen? Drop it in the comments, I really want to see where you stand. And hey, if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, hit that like button, it helps push this video out to more football fans. Now let's bring in the numbers, because numbers don't lie. Last season, Garnacho delivered 21 goal contributions. That's more than Pedro Neto on 14, Madueke on 15, Sancho on 13, Doku on 15, Martinelli on 15. Only Luis Diaz edged them with 22. These are players praised as established, as reliable. Garnacho matched or beat them while playing in a United side drowning in dysfunction. He ranks among the top for touches in the box, for shot volume, for direct involvement. Is he wasteful? Sure. Does he make questionable decisions? Absolutely. But you don't post 21 contributions by accident. You do it by constantly being a threat. For me, that's not inconsistency. It's evidence of real impact. And this is where Chelsea's system matters. Under Enzo Maresca, wingers aren't decorations. They're structural pillars. They hold width, isolate fullbacks, stretch defenses to create central lanes.
Maresca is pretty much demands players to give everything off the ball. And that has been, I think, one of the major problems with Garnacho. You haven't really seen, on the ball he looks great for a lot of the time. And then when United haven't got the ball, you're like, come on, I want to see a bit more.
Garnacho fits that perfectly. On the left, he mirrors Pedro Neto on the right. Two explosive outlets who punish open space. Against high lines, that pair will be lethal. Against deep blocks, Maresca can switch to Gittins or Estevan, dribblers who thrive in tight pockets. This isn't duplication, it's variety. And that's just the present. Look ahead and it's even clearer. Garnacho, Palmer, Neto, Estevan, that's Chelsea's new offensive generation. 4 young, dangerous players with different strengths building a front line designed for the next 5 to 7 years. Garnacho isn't a stopgap, he's part of a blueprint, and the future looks frightening for defenses. Of course, comparisons are inevitable. Mudryk is the lazy one. Both direct, both raw. But the difference is night and day. Mudryk came as a gamble, almost no proof, pure potential. Garnacho arrives with output, with goals in cup finals, with 2 seasons of Premier League minutes. And then there's the Cristiano Ronaldo talk. At 20, Ronaldo was mocked for wastefulness, for endless stepovers, for poor decisions. People forget how raw he was before the polish came. Garnacho is at that same stage, sometimes frustrating, sometimes brilliant, but always dangerous. You can dismiss him if you want, but you're ignoring what young wingers look like before they mature. For me, the rawness isn't a flaw, it's the process. And you know what? This fits a pattern. Chelsea have been here before. Remember Cole Palmer? Everyone said City were laughing, that Chelsea had overpaid for a bench warmer. Within months, he was carrying the team's attack. Joao Pedro is another example. He came from Brighton with plenty of doubt, plenty of people questioning whether he was ready to step up. Already he's proving himself as a reality, a player who belongs in this level of squad. Garnacho fits the same mold. At first mocked, doubted, labeled inconsistent, but potentially the next in line to make those critics eat their words. This isn't luck, it's strategy. Chelsea are deliberately betting on undervalued young talent, and so far, those bets are paying off. Garnacho isn't an exception, he's a continuation. And let's not ignore what his arrival means inside the squad. Chelsea already have Gittins, another young winger people are excited about. Some think Garnacho blocks him. I see the opposite. I see healthy competition. Gittins is more technical, thrives in tight spaces, loves quick combinations. Garnacho is explosive, vertical, a chaos creator. Having both doesn't create a logjam, it creates options. And more importantly, it pushes them. Neither can relax, neither can get comfortable.
But the kid has that kind of understanding of sometimes, listen, I don't care. I'm going to go and just try and attack this game by any means, and normally finds a way. So
that kind of internal rivalry forces players to sharpen their game every single week. For 2 young wingers at similar stages, that's gold. One day Gittins starts, another Garnacho. Both grow, both improve, and Chelsea end up with not 1, but 2 high-level wide options. That's how you build squads that compete across seasons. So what do the so-called experts miss? They zoom in on his conversion rate, on decision-making charts, on how counterattacks inflated his carries. Fair criticisms on paper, but they miss the bigger arc. He's 21, he's already producing like wingers twice his price, and he's been doing it in one of the most toxic environments in football. He's not finished, he's forming. Chelsea didn't buy the final product, they bought the trajectory. Analysts call it inconsistency, I call it growth and progress. And that's really why everyone is wrong. They look at Garnacho through the United filter. They see Amorim's rant, the missed chances, the sulky body language, and they assume that's who he is. But that was United. That was chaos, scapegoating, dysfunction. Put him into the Chelsea structure, into Maresca's balance, into a squad building toward the future, and everything shifts. The flaws shrink, the strengths shine. Garnacho isn't a mistake. He's a miscast actor finally stepping onto the right stage. Look, he's not perfect. He'll frustrate, he'll over-dribble, he'll miss sitters, but he'll also score goals that matter, he'll terrify defenses, and he'll grow every year. That's what wingers his age do. The only question is whether he has the ingredients to make the leap. And I believe he does. Pace, explosiveness, instinct, versatility, courage in big moments. Those are things you can't coach. Everything else comes with time, with structure, with patience. In the end, Chelsea didn't just buy a winger, they bought opportunity. Opportunity to turn United's problem into their solution. Opportunity to add to a new generation of attackers who could define the next decade. Opportunity to flip a narrative the critics don't see coming. Everyone else calls it risk. I see it as one of the smartest bets Chelsea have made in years. And if Garnacho explodes in blue, don't be surprised when all those doubters suddenly pretend they believe from the start. That's football. But right now, before the story flips, I'll say it clearly. They're wrong, and Chelsea are right.